GOP is hell-bent on making. So we recognize these are brutal and scary times, but here's our message to the American people. We are fighting alongside you. We Americans get away with this crime spree. Our caucus are holding the line, and especially a little preview, the extraordinary women who have joined our ranks this caucus that I hope you will come join me at 10:15 a.m. and women. But in the meantime, I will turn it over to another remarkable leader, our field general and talented chair of the DPCC, Susan DelBene. What did I say? Oh, she, those, the DCCC. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just a little over 2 months are well on their way to breaking the economy. Consumer shows a majority of Americans disapprove of Trump. Lost all its gains since January, and prices continue to rise at the grocery store and the pharmacy counter. For voters last election, but House Republicans promises are broken. Their tariffs will raise prices and create massive uncertainty for businesses, small and large. A small business owner in my district recently told me he's not sure if he can be competitive price-wise going forward. Just the uncertainty alone of whether more the stop and it's easy to lose business. And House Republicans seem fine with this. They dismiss the damage they're causing as a little disturbance. But when a farmer can't buy the fertilizer they need during planting season right now or export their crops, that's not a little disturbance. It's incredibly harmful to their business. And Republicans promise to support our businesses, our farmers, and our workers. But with these tariffs, they're doing exactly the opposite. House Democrats and the American people are going to hold Republicans accountable for their broken promises. And we're already seeing across the country people standing up and speaking out against their dangerous agenda. The public is opposed to their cuts to Medicaid. They're opposed to the mass layoffs of firefighters, of inspectors in charge of combating bird flu, of veterans who are supporting veterans at the Veterans Administration. House Republicans know how unpopular their agenda is, which is why vulnerable House Republicans have stopped holding in-person town halls. They can't, they can try to hide all they want, but they can't hide from voters forever. The frustration and anger we're seeing across the country should send a loud message to House Republicans. People are ready for a change, and they're ready to help House Democrats take back the gavels. So now I want to turn it over to our incredible vice chair from the great state of California, Ted Lieu.
Aguilar and I are excited about this year's Issues Conference, and let me start by thanking Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Whip Clark, and Chairman Aguilar for the Democratic caucus against the Republican CR. That was a strong show. Donald Trump last week came to Congress and he promised a Trump slump. We see that prices have increased, especially egg price, approximately 2,500 points since Trump took office. And this is because of his chaotic policies, such as indiscriminate tariffs, and then his weakness and indecisiveness in U.S. Alzheimer's and cancer, and the American people are state Senate seat in Iowa that Trump had won by 21 points. And just this week in a House delegate seat, our candidate overperformed by 20. My honor to introduce Joe.
Well, good afternoon. I thank you all for being, and Chairwoman Del Bene for their incredible leadership over the course of these last several years. This morning, that I think so well encapsulates that we are living through and the precarious moment that we find ourselves in. From CBS News. And the headline is this: Lutnick says Trump's policies are, quote, worth it, even if they lead to a recession. The Lutnick, of course, that this article is referring to is President Trump's Commerce Secretary. Think about that for a second. That in his view, these reckless economic policies are worth it, even if they cause a recession. And it appears they will get their wish. As you heard Vice Chair Lieu, Chair Aguilar, Leader Jeffries, Whip Clark, Chairwoman Del Bene describe the economic havoc that President Trump and his administration have created over just the course of these last 7 weeks. Stock market crashing, job losses piling up, 401ks vanishing, the prices for everyday goods going up across the board. Federal workers, folks at the Forest Service, wildland firefighters in my district back home in Colorado, purged from the federal government, agencies being dismantled. All of this has real-world consequences for the people that we are also privileged to serve here in the United States Congress. The time for the Trump administration an decisive, comprehensive response from House Democrats, which is precisely what we've done for the better part of the last 7 weeks, and we look forward to having more discussions on our response in the days ahead. And with that, I'll turn it back to Chairman Aguilar.
Thank you, Joe. Questions? Brianna?
Question for all of you, but Mr. Leader, I know you said a couple weeks ago, what leverage do we have as Democrats in the minority? Obviously, you all exerted some kind of leverage yesterday, and you almost unanimously voted against. Is that the only point of leverage that you guys foresee being able to use? And should Senate Democrats also use that leverage of voting no on this bill?
The leaders also talked about, look, there's a debt limit, there's future appropriations, discussions. There will be opportunities for us to show how united we are fighting for the American people. Susan Del Bene came from a hearing where Ways and Means members were doing just that. Each and every day, we show we're united for everyday Americans. Now, we're going to continue to work with our members and talk about ideas and strategies on how we show that, how we demonstrate that. The leader will guide our efforts. But what you saw yesterday and what you saw in the budget reconciliation vote, where Catherine Clark and her whip team got every Democrat on board, shows and demonstrates exactly who we're fighting for and what our focus is. Mr. Leader.
That was a rhetorical question that I asked in response to a reckless charge from Speaker Mike Johnson that it was House Democrats who were determined to shut down the government. I'm not even sure why we're still on that point. After what we've seen repeatedly in terms of House Democrats standing firmly together to oppose the largest Medicaid cut in American history. Every single House Democrat. And Republicans are on the run all across America, which is why they have been ordered not to hold town hall meetings. House Democrats are doing the exact opposite. Next week, we will have a day of action all across America in support of Medicaid. And our members will continue to hold town hall meetings, engage with constituents, visit schools, hospitals, and nursing homes to make it clear that we're standing up for the American people. So we will continue to be united in our defense of everyday Americans, and Republicans are clearly united in bending the knee to Donald Trump and Elon Musk.
Should Senate Democrats also stay united like you all?
I don't know why anyone would support that bill. For the United States Senate, look, we're going to wait for the white smoke just like everybody else out of their lunch, but there is nothing in this bill that gives the certainty that the American public need. Cuts to veterans' health care, continued cuts for these agencies that are providing services from wildland firefighting to cancer research. Elon Musk and Donald Trump are systematically already shutting down the federal government. Why we would want any part of that, I have no idea. Over here. I'm happily going to give it to her. Sight unseen.
About the map coming up in 2026 and your plan to expand these seats. I know that there's about 13 Democrats, I think, that are currently serving in districts won by President Trump. I think there's only 3 Republicans, including Brian Fitzpatrick, who overperformed some districts won by Harris. So how do the numbers add up for you? What's your strategy in terms of expanding your seats?
Well, you actually talked about part of it. One, we overperformed last cycle. We gained seats. We flipped 10 seats from red to blue, and we are 215, which puts us in an incredible position. So we need 3 more seats. As you said, we won also in Trump districts across the country, and I think given that was before the chaos and dysfunction that we've seen from the Republican Party already, just in 2 months, and the outrage that we've heard from the American people across the country. So we're going to hold them accountable. I think that folks want to see, and economic issues are top of mind. We're going to continue to recruit and have great candidates. That's one reason we won across the country, even in tough districts. You've got great candidates who are focused on the kitchen table issues of their districts and who are coming to Washington, D.C. to fight to get things done. And so we're going to work hard, one, make sure we reelect all the great folks that we just brought into Congress, and 2, recruit great candidates, focus on the issues of the American people, and hold Republicans accountable for the chaos they have. That's why we'll be successful next year, absolutely.
Michael, let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Donald Trump has painted this picture of his first few weeks as cleaning up the mess that the Biden administration and Democratic control of Congress left behind. He has a powerful media ecosystem behind him that, a lot of Americans really turn to for their news. How do you break through that information gap and help folks understand the things that you did in previous Congress, what you all will do if you were to get those gavel backs, given the fact that he has such control of such a powerful megaphone now that he's president again and has this big media ecosystem behind him?
Well, and we saw 99 minutes of lies in front of the American public. We're not trying to compete with that. We're trying to talk directly to the American people about our positive vision for the future, but it's based on data. The American people can see that Donald Trump was given an economy that was on the way up. We had come from the pandemic, worked our way through that, stock market, inflation going down, stock market going up. It's completely inverted now. Stock market crumbling, consumer confidence declining. That's the Donald Trump legacy. That's what Donald Trump's economy and his tariffs, on again, off again, all of that uncertainty, the American public, they may not follow every in and out, but they know that these guys are not fighting for them. And so I appreciate the DPCC and Leader Jeffries offering an opportunity for us to get our message out in a different format during the joint address to Congress. Collective eyeballs looking at content is something that we're all talking about now. We're doing different things. We're trying to reach more people to get our positive message about the country and what we stand for. Those are things that we can control and that we can do. We're not trying to compete with Donald Trump for that megaphone that he has with the conservative media apparatus behind him. We're trying to focus on the American people and to show them how we're fighting, what we're fighting for, and the importance of this moment. That's what this vote was about. We stood up for the American people, and we will, time and time again, have their interests in mind when we're voting to protect healthcare, to protect investments in life-saving medicine, all of those things House Democrats continue to do. Whip Clark? Okay. Last one, Nick.
I want to also ask about government funding. This was a tough vote for a lot of members. The Senate, like you said, we're waiting on the white smoke right now. Would it have been helpful for your members to receive a clearer signal from the Senate on what Democrats were going to do there as they took this vote?
You're talking to the House Democratic leadership team. We control what's in front of us and our members. I'm so proud of our members continuing to listen to us, ask for guidance, ask for more information, wanting to get this vote right for their districts. The level of information that this team, that Leader Jeffries and Whip Clark were providing to our members so people feel confident and so they understand the detail of this. This was not a clean CR. A clean CR, we voted for those. Those are 3 pages. You move a date around. This is 90 pages. Anomalies were pages 12 through 87. I mean, right, this is anything but clean, and House Democrats knew that. And so our unity was important. It was important because we keep hearing from the American people that they want us to push back against Donald Trump's chaos and extremism. And that's exactly what our vote was about. And I'll ask Whip Clark to.
Go for it.
Yeah, just to add what our chairman already said, what we were faced with was really 2 prongs. One, we have a blank check to Doge, to keep on doging and taking a chainsaw to the very programs that American families are saying they want us to protect, whether that's their health care or veterans benefits or public schools. Social Security is, we have said repeatedly, if this CR protected Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, we would have voted for it. But they did just the opposite. And how do we know this is all part of the scheme of dismantling government, taking deserving taxpayer dollars and giving it to the billionaire class? Because Republicans told us so. You saw Freedom Caucus members coming out and saying, I am now going to support this CR after I have been told by the Trump administration this will be a path to further cuts and spending. That is a path to stealing taxpayer dollars. And that is why you saw that unity. And I think our unity of purpose is a clear sign of whose side we stand on. We're standing on the side of working families. And that's why our message to the Senate is also stand with us on that side. And we think that our vote gives the Senate the strength and the message they need to stand up as well.
5 days ago, House Democratic leadership, Catherine Clark, Pete Aguilar, myself, all of us came out strongly against the partisan Republican spending bill because we understood that it was not a continuing resolution that maintained existing spending levels. It was a right-wing extremist wish list that would hurt the American people. In the caucus meeting yesterday, we laid out 5 different reasons, substantively, why we were strongly opposed to this partisan Republican spending bill and why that position should be reflected on the House floor, as it was, in defense of the American people. The partisan Republican spending bill cut funding for veterans, cut funding for health care, and cut funding for nutritional assistance. It represented an across-the-board cut as it relates to non-defense discretionary funding important to the health, safety, and economic well-being of the American people. The partisan Republican spending bill was an attack on families, veterans, and seniors. The bill that was strongly opposed by House Democrats is a power grab that further unleashes and entrenches Elon Musk's efforts to take a chainsaw to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and the priorities of the American people. And there is an alternative for the senators, Democrats and Republicans, to consider. It's a 4-week, clean, continuing resolution that gives both the House and the Senate, Democrats and Republicans, the ability to try to reach an agreement that actually meets the needs of the country and does not hurt everyday Americans.
Sure. Vice Chair Liu's going to answer though, but go ahead.
So, if the message is, you know, you guys stand with the American people on their side, House Democrats did that, but if Senate Democrats support this, it's going to muddle that message. It's going to look like Democrats are divided on this thing. How are you going to make it clear to the American people that this isn't a Democrats divided narrative in Washington, that there's confusion here about how Democrats should act in this moment when I get to stand up against Trump?
House Democrats are very clear. We're asking Senate Democrats to vote no on this continuing resolution, which is not clean, and it makes cuts across the board, and it's going to be one of those things where people are going to look at this vote, and every bad thing that now happens with Doge and Donald Trump, Elon Musk, it can go back to this vote. So we're asking Senate Democrats to vote no.
Can you talk a little bit about did you have any conversations with Schumer about keeping the caucus together the way you did?
Our ongoing conversations with Senate Democrats, from the leadership all the way through the members of the Senate that we regularly work with, are continuing. The House Democratic position is crystal clear, as evidenced by the strong vote of opposition that we took yesterday on the House floor, opposing the Trump, Musk, Johnson reckless Republican spending bill.
Thank you. Appreciate it.